Hi, good evening everyone. Today we're going to be talking about chiropractic reactions, so reactions to chiropractic adjustments, what's normal, what's abnormal, and also talking a bit about how sometimes symptoms can change and one of the reasons why they change as well, and as well as some of the things that it's normal to feel if you are getting chiropractic adjustments. So especially in the beginning of chiropractic, it's normal, I would usually say, to have one of these three main reactions. So number one, you may feel a little bit sore after the adjustments. Number two, you may feel really good, you may feel really great. Or number three, you may not feel too much yet, because generally it is a process. It's not something we're expecting, one instant adjustment is going to make this revolutionary change, and that's changing everything that's been building up over months and years potentially for a particular patient. One way I'd always think of this is a bit like anything else where it's progressive. Say something like exercise. Especially in the beginning, if you haven't exercised for a long time, after that first run, you could feel really sore, you might feel great and full of energy, or you might not feel too much yet, and it might have to take some more time for you to really get more of the benefits of what's going to be happening for your body. And it's quite the same with chiropractic adjustments. One of the reasons for this, especially when people ask, they always get concerned when it comes to things like the soreness, and especially the soreness in the muscles. And one of the reactions then is that they think, oh, I must have to do something about the muscles, whether it's stretching or whether it's going and getting some sort of massage or acupuncture or something like that. So the reason why some of those muscles will be tense and be tight is, again, they may be tight from before, but they also can become tight afterwards because they're now reacting, getting used to that new normal position. So say here at Vitality Chiropractic, we have recovery suites, and we use these to make sure those muscles have an opportunity to get used to that new normal position, preventing some of that soreness happening for our patients, as well as speeding up recovery. But generally trying to do something afterwards, whether it means you're getting enough rest, whether you're drinking more water, all the things we should be doing to be healthy as in general, of course, but doing these things, especially after you've started getting adjustments in the beginning, will be very helpful to make sure that you're preventing some of that potential soreness happening, which doesn't happen with everyone, but it can potentially happen, and also to make sure, of course, the recovery is going to be as fast as possible. Some of the other things that can be quite normal, especially when starting chiropractic care in the beginning, is there can be some effects on energy levels, and typically the two I see is people's energy going up or going down straight after they've had their kind of adjustment. So remember, I had a family coming in years ago, and it was a mother, it was a father, and of course their child. And for the mother, when she came in, she had lots of energy afterwards, she can get out and do stuff. The father would fall asleep. Basically close to it. He could drive and everything else, but for him, as soon as he got home, he wants to have a nap, at least 20-30 minutes, just so he can kind of regroup himself. And that's completely normal. Luckily for these two, their child, who was someone who got very, very full of energy, they had at least their mum around who's going to be more energetic with them and not going to be falling asleep as well. But these are the things that can be completely normal in the beginning. One of the other things that can be normal as well is what we call retracing. So this is especially for people who have had a long-term history of something going on, and there's been a long-term progressive build-up of things going on in the body. And this essentially is where your body starts to retrace some of the things that have been happening in the past and go through that development again, but going through it in reverse. So one way to think of this is, say somebody has had an injury, and then for the next, say, 10 years, they haven't really done much about it. And over those 10 years, there has been a progression of things changing within their body. It started with one particular injury, say it was a whiplash. They've injured their neck in one way, and then over time, there's been a progressive change within the tissues, within the muscles, within the nerves, and the ligaments over time. Now, the retracing idea is that when you are going to be healing, that you don't instantly go from being all of these 10 years of problems and build-up straight to being okay. You then have to some extent go back through those stages your body went through of damage to repair those stages as well. And so it is normal potentially that some patients, again, we don't see this with everyone, but there can be this retracing process where for some people, they maybe have, say again, this example of a 10-year history of whiplash, and as it goes back through time, they may start to experience some of the things that they used to experience. I've had this before where patients say, I didn't have neck pain before, I came in here because I was having headaches, but then I had neck pain recently for the first time in 5 years. It didn't last very long, but it is something that came back. And it can be normal that some of these things may start to come back as the body is going back through that cycle. One example that I've been told before by a colleague is that if you think about, say, if you were driving down a road, it's a one-way road, it's a one-lane road, but it's only you and one other lane going across it, and you're going through this long journey. You've been on this journey for hours and hours. But when you're coming back, there's no other route. You have to take this road back as well. So when you're going down one way, of course, maybe you have to go over one pothole, maybe you have to avoid something, maybe you have to go past something, and on the way back, you're going to do exactly the same, but in the reverse order. And it can be the same sometimes for those symptoms, especially when there is something more long-term and chronic, and the body is starting to heal its way out of that kind of issue. So I hope this answers some of the questions people may have about what's normal with chiropractic adjustments and why they may feel certain things in the beginning. Of course, for a lot of people, it's going to be much simpler. It's going to be just that they're feeling much better, they're feeling much more functional, much more vibrant, and they feel like they can do more things than they were doing before. But sometimes it can be normal to have some of these reactions. But I would say whether you're a patient of mine or you're going to see somebody else, it's always good to talk with a practitioner to figure out if this is normal and to make sure that if it is, that it is something that you are understanding what's going on and to not be too scared about it. And if it's not, of course, that they should be advising what should be done and to make sure that they're doing the best for your case. If anyone has any questions, you can always give us a call on 8438-9550. You can give us an email at help@vitalitychiropracticcentres.com, or of course you can put something in the comments and I'll be happy to get back to you. Have a good evening, everyone.